Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this month's bundle. I have a very, very special guest with us, someone who's going to help us as we go into the holiday season because it can be pretty hectic. And Heather Giambalvo, dear God, let me have got that right, from Cleaning with Ease is going to help us. Yes. And so let me introduce you to Heather. She is located in the northeast of the United States. So without further ado, please, Heather, tell us a little bit about you and what you do. On a caveat, Heather is a homeschooling mama.
Yes.
So she has really a lot of stuff around her, I'm assuming, because she is teaching her son at home. Did you teach your just the one son or the whole family?
I have taught the whole family. I started, my oldest daughter is 29 and my youngest is 16. So I am in my 23rd year of homeschooling.
Right. So yeah. Right. So if someone knows how to keep the house neat and tidy and in order, let me introduce you once again to Heather.
Well, thank you for having me. I will say that this passion that I have for helping people declutter came out of a lot of years of, I don't want to say failure, but challenges. Back in my heavy years of homeschooling, because now I'm down to one. He is a junior in high school, so it's much easier. I would say that I was really during those periods that I really struggled because I did just have too much stuff around. And out of that grew all that I learned. And then that's where my passion grew out of is, being able to help other people to find the freedom that I have found in all of that. So I am the mother of four, from 29 down to 16. I still have two at home. And my oldest is married with four children. So I'm now a grandma, which is exciting. And then one off to college and still two home with me now. So as far as what I do is I have a decluttering membership. I also do one-on-one coaching to help people declutter their homes. And one of the things that I actually discovered sort of my method, if you want, coming out of what I learned through weight loss. Because at one point in my life, I used to be nearly 300 pounds.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so much of what I learned through that, I turned, and all the thought work and the mindset work and all that stuff that I needed to do for that, I was like, I wonder if this would work with my home too. So I started to experiment, and I started to figure out that basically taking care of my home was just like with losing weight. It's 80% mindset and thought work and 20% strategy, because I mean, it's not difficult to lose weight. Eat less food, right? Move your body more, right? If it was, it's very simple, but it's not easy. And the same thing was true with your house. It's not brain surgery that we're doing, but it's about finding ways to incorporate it into your life that are very doable, so that you kind of trick your brain into not feeling overwhelmed. Right. And that's how I got my start in all of this. And that's how I, developed a passion for all of this.
It's so interesting because we all have our own journeys, and you couldn't replicate that.
Nope.
No. So as we are, this is December, and as we have just come through Thanksgiving and all that stuff, how do we enter this month with the holidays, whatever holiday you celebrate? How do we deal with all the clutter and all the more people?
Okay.
Of course, with safety in mind. And how do we keep ourselves sane and so that we can enjoy the holidays? Because that's what it's all about.
So one of my keys for the holiday decorating is that I don't just bring my stuff out and put it on top of everything else. Okay. So when the boxes come out, I've also, okay, I will say that a few years ago when my daughter got married, let's say, I guess that would be 7 years ago, we went through all of the Christmas stuff. That happens to be the holiday that I celebrate, and figured out what it was that we really wanted out and what it was that the kids might feel attached to, that they might want for themselves, and really cut down to, and I don't mean that I just have like, a few things out. I mean, we still decorate our home, but I figured out what was it that really was important to me? What is it that I really loved? So the boxes come out, and as things come out, and I say I have a box, I put things on the table. I go around my house and put away some of the dust catchers, as I like to call them, and then the tchotchkes and the things like that. It's one of those things that I try not to overdo, because I do enjoy living in a space that has less stuff that I just really love, because I know that everything that I choose to keep requires upkeep.
Right.
Okay. Like, let's just say nothing's ever really free, because you have to take care of it.
Yeah.
So I will take those things and put them into the boxes that I'm taking the decorations out of, and then put stuff out, because otherwise I found that it was just too cluttered and I really couldn't enjoy. I just felt like things are just kind of closing in on me.
Sure.
So as far as decorations go, that would be my recommendation. But as far as everything else, it's the same process, whether it's the holidays or not. I like to think of my home as like a pie. And when you are trying to make improvements, when you're trying to gain some momentum in decluttering or taking care of your home, I try and focus on a very tiny sliver of the pie at once. Does that make sense?
Right.
So that you can actually see the improvement. Because if you went around and you say you got rid of, let's say you got rid of 100 things from your home, and you did it, and you live in, it depends on the size of the place you live. Obviously 100 things if you live in a 500 square foot apartment is going to be a lot. You're going to see a big improvement. But in my 2,500 square foot house, that it's not going to be as encouraged as I would. I feel, like I should. So I try and focus my attention on a smaller area, and I try and do it with small bits of time. You are going to be shocked. One of my taglines for my business is, don't underestimate the power of 5 minutes or 15 minutes.
Right.
I encourage my members, I encourage my clients, just set your timer for 15 minutes, because we can do anything for 15 minutes, right? That's just not an over, or if you're feeling resistance, 5 minutes. It could be a matter of like opening up a drawer and just, recognizing that, man, I own, 12 spatulas. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many does one person really need, kind of thing. And, everybody knows what it is. And maybe spatulas are your thing. Everybody has something that they don't want to part with, but just by little, and never taking out more than you can deal with in 15 minutes. So as you're getting ready for the holidays, working around your home, like looking at one piece of furniture and saying, okay, what is it on here? What is it that, I could part with that is really, I could go bless someone else with by donating it to Goodwill or donating it to the local thrift shop, that is really sucking my time, because I have to care for it, whether it's dusting it or finding a home for it or whatever, or is just making me feel closed in. Because you don't really realize how trapped you are until the stuff is gone. Think about like when you go to a resort or you go to a hotel room. One of the nice things in it is you walk in and it's, I don't want to say Spartan, because,
it's neutral.
It's new. Yeah. It's just, it doesn't have the, it doesn't have all the stories that go with things, which can be good or bad. Sometimes we keep things, we keep something that has a bad memory for us. You know, one of my members, it was funny. She's like, I finally threw out that cracked vase. She said it was even broken, but it was from a marriage that had failed. And she goes, meanwhile, I'm keeping it there. Why am I? It was a wedding gift.
It's like a reminder.
It represents a failed marriage. And yet here it sits. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
You know, it's crazy because everything has a story, and some of them are big and some of them are small, and some of them are good and some of them are not so good. But, you know, just little bits of time taking, you know, looking around, especially the areas where you're going to be entertaining.
Right.
Sure.
Sure.
You know saying? Like, just thinking that it's not like I have to do this all. I got to have hours to do this. You know, we're trying to get away from the marathon cleaning sessions and get into that mentality of, if I do 15 minutes today and I do 15 minutes tomorrow and I do 15 minutes the next day, you know, you do that 4 times in a week and you've done an hour.
Yeah. And you'll see improvements.
Exactly. Especially if you focus in your attention.
So it's sort of like deciding that you want to go to Denver, Colorado from where I am. If you look at it as a whole, you think, holy moly, this is thousands of miles. Right. But if you take it 100 miles each time, you're getting closer.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And, you know, then you kind of pass at the beginning, it's like exercise too. Right. At the beginning, it's like, oh, it's hard to keep your, you know, but you know that if you can get through those first couple of weeks, you know, and develop that habit. And that's, you know, I talk about, developing a decluttering habit, you know, developing your decluttering muscle, because it does get stronger. It actually gets really easier, and you get faster at making decisions on things.
Right. Because I have found with the exercising thing that if you go at things 110% right away, you don't continue.
No, because you quit.
Yeah, you quit because you don't have the motivation, or your body says, hold on here, you can't do this. And then
that's where mindset comes in, because if you beat yourself down, you are going to quit.
Right. Exactly.
Because your brain is going to try and get away from the pain.
Yeah.
Of you beating yourself down. You know, whereas if you can, one of the things I talk about is, you know, picking a task, really being present for it, for that 10 or 15 minutes, whatever you're doing, and then celebrating. Right. I mean, it can be, a celebration can be as much as going, man, I did a good job, or checking it off a to-do list, and sometimes even writing it on the to-do list and then checking it off.
There's great satisfaction in that, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then taking a little bit of a break and then repeat. You know, that kind of thing. I mean, it could be repeat the next day. It could be repeat that day, depending upon, you know, sometimes I will do something where I'm like watching a show, and I know we don't watch that many commercials now, but occasionally you watch something that, you know, has commercials with it. And, you know, going and I have a DVR so I can pause it, you know, say on a commercial.
Right.
And I'll go and, you know, okay, I'm going to go find 10 things to put away. Because even some of it can be just, you know, everything has to have a home in order for things to be easy.
Exactly.
Okay? It's very easy to pick up when everything has a home. Okay, the remote goes in that basket, the balls we have dogs, go into the, you know, into the container, those dishes go in the dishwasher. It's hard when you don't know what to do with it, because that's when the piles start. Okay, and then you just keep, you know, you do all this work and you just really moved your piles around, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, speaking of piles, you know, if you have a pile, that same mentality of the 15 minutes at a time, or going and finding 5 things, it's better than trying to deal with the whole pile. How about you just deal with 5 things, that pile? That's something else that I'll do when I'm watching, you know, television or something like that, is put that pile of papers, because papers they're challenging, because pretty much every one of them needs some sort of an action. I mean, yeah, some of them it's just thrown to the recycling, but some of it's like, okay, here's a bill that needs to be filed, or here's an application that needs to be sent out, or here is a thank you note that needs to be written, or whatever it is, you know, whatever it is, they all have an action. So, if you just take it and you just deal with 5 things each day, pretty soon that's gone.
So that applies. So to recap what we've talked about so far, is that when as we enter into holiday season,
right,
what you advise us to do is to pull out your holiday decorations,
right,
and empty the box of those holiday decorations, but put into the box those items which can take a hiatus for a month.
exactly.
So that those will be quiet, and then put those items back back in place.
Right.
And so also, as you are, maybe would you suggest, maybe not initially, but as you're packing everything up for next year, maybe decide, okay, now we're going to look at everything. We'll spend the time and energy and look, and then sort it out that way, so that next year you can run into the whole thing slowly, and use your method of deciding what you like as a family and individual to display and to present to your family in your home.
And clutter comes off in layers. Like we have wood floors, which I guess you can't really see in this thing. And we were doing the entire house as wood floors. So one of the rooms that I had to clear out was my bedroom, and I have a walk-in closet, and I decluttered before because I knew it was going to be happening.
Oh, sure.
I decluttered as I packed things up. And to move them out, and I decluttered again when I put things back in. Because once some things are gone, like some things you don't even notice. We get used to our own clutter. We don't even see it sometimes. Like all of a sudden, when I was taking things out of the closet, I'm like, look at all this costume jewelry I have that I never wear.
Yeah.
I wear the same 5 necklaces. I wear the same, I guess it's mostly necklaces, but you know what I mean? Like, I just was just like, I'm like, okay, you haven't worn them, Heather, in 3 years. I mean, it's time to let them go.
And it's a process. It's continuous. You don't just do it once. As everyone can see, I'm decluttering my books. I'm going through my books. So, what we're going to do is we'll be back. We're going to talk about, in the second part of this video, we're going to talk about the actual preparation of the food and how to deal with that in a decluttering mode.